Hello and welcome. This is our 100th episode, and if things have gone correctly, we are currently live streaming to you in YouTube. And welcome. This is our 100th episode. We started on the 9th of July 2024, so we're looking at 25-ish months of doing this, coming to you. And you've got Gabby Sheshlock, Erica Nadeau, Brett Corcoran, and me. Same faces that were there back on the 9th of July. We've had some others come and go in the meantime. And we want to talk a little bit about what we spoke of on that first episode, which was intuition. Where does it come from? Do we feel that we've changed our views in any way, shape, or form on that? But also to talk a little bit about the commitment that it has taken for us to drop into your inbox noon on a Tuesday every week for 100 weeks. So there we are. That set the scene. If you're listening, please put something in the chat. We will see that and we will respond to it. And other than that, who wants to start us off? Where are we going?
It's not early. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. The day's half over. I'm just kidding.
Well, while we're waiting for people to drop in, I must say, I don't feel like this was a commitment. Probably more to Alex because he's doing the technical part in the background and he has to drop the episodes in every Tuesday. But for me, it was a lot of fun, which makes me think maybe commitment is not a problem if you're doing something you like to do. Maybe commitment only becomes a problem if it becomes a chore, a routine, a duty, something painful you don't really want to do anymore. So maybe for me, the reflection is if I feel something is becoming a commitment and a pain in the neck, maybe it's time to sit back and think, why is that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like, I feel like it is a commitment, but only in the sense of the word of what commitment means, right? Like agreeing to do something and continuing to do it. Sorry, I just got distracted for a minute. Because you said you were going to, but when it starts to be painful or it starts to lose its initial appeal, or, you're finding yourself not like dragging ass to have to do it, it becomes more of a sentence than a commitment, right? So for me, this has been, I look forward to our recordings every time we do it because it's really just me spending a few hours once in a while with people that I love and value and like in friendship and more than that. And it expands my brain, but it just gives my soul like a little dose of what this feels like. So yeah, I agree with you, Gab. If it's starting to drag your ass and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, it's more of an obligation and a duty than like an actual, I've decided to commit to this because it is something that I believe in and want to do. So yeah. And for me, this whole experience and the fact that we're at our 100th episode and almost 2 years in doing this is like time that has flown by that I wouldn't like. It's been almost 2 years. It doesn't feel like, oh my God, we've been doing this for 2 years. It's been like, wow, we've been doing this for 2 years and it's been fun. We've had guests and just the friendship that has developed and the pure respect that I feel in some topics that we talk about where we might not agree and we have different views, but it still can lead to like really deep conversation. And I have enjoyed every second of it. I love it. for even though, you know, I don't know who's listening. Because I don't know who's listening. Like, I'm staring at this chat, waiting to see somebody in the live, and I'm like, am I even in the right spot? Because where the hell is everybody?
Well, I'm wondering if we are actually live just at the moment. I'm fiddling in the background, but I wanted to chime in on that. We don't know. We really don't know. I mean, we get the odd comment from people, and with the last live, I think we got 29 views or something. So it would be easy to sort of look at the sunk cost fallacy, you know, how much effort, and I'm in agreement, it doesn't really feel like it has been a huge amount of effort. But we could look at it that way and look at our statistics and our views and our numbers and all that kind of thing and say, oh, you know, it's not really worth it. But that would be if we sort of looked at it in that modern lens that we were talking about in the last one, where everything has to be productivity based and everything has to deliver some sort of outcome or tangible. And we know that people do enjoy listening to us for whatever reason, and we know that it brings us pleasure. So, like the conversation we just had about joy, this is a relatively simple thing. So why not allow ourselves to have these conversations, these rambling conversations that go really deep, allow Erica to say bullshit and fuck this shit and all the other things that people love to hear from her, for no other reason than the simple joy of doing it.
It's a great point, because it's like coming back to commitment. Why do you commit to anything, right? Is it because you have some attachment to what an outcome is supposed to be that you're committed to it? Because for me, I'm committed to this because I'm committed to each of you, right? So I want to do this because of the fun that it brings me. I'm really detached from the outcome of it. Like, I don't get hung up on, oh, nobody viewed, nobody did this. How come we have no listeners? Do we have whatever? It is what it is. That's not the reason why I committed to doing this in the first place. It was just more to build something and to bond with people who I value and respect. So I think it's you know, it would serve everybody well to take a minute to think about, why are you actually committing to something that you say is important to you? Like, what is the real reason that you're doing that?
So we don't get to just get together and hang out and, you know, in like mind thought, right? Uh, just that whole questioning how the mind works, limiting beliefs, intuition, all of that stuff. What's it all about? And where are you aware of where you stand with your own, or are you in a fast-paced world where you don't have the opportunity, or you get glimpses here and there, and you're always futuring or looking back behind you? Like, it's like the win is right here in this moment, and I think that for me is great. I get to spend this moment with you guys, right? And then it makes me more aware as to when I'm not on here, as to the moments out there, so that I don't miss on those. So there's a big win with this conversation, and I would love to hear from listeners, because I would hope that, you know, it would make them more aware if they weren't. already, right? Not saying that they're not, but if they are, then I would love to hear what the inner process is for them and their inner thoughts and the way they work, their mind works, and how they go through their every day. Because there's a lot of similarities in the way we all go through things, but we think we're so, the only ones that do that. You'll be surprised how much we are all the same, whether you're here or in another country, or it's really wild.
When I'm listening to you talk, I have such a twinge of what's the word? I guess it's longing. I don't know, because I love doing this so much, and I get sad every time it's over because we're not near each other, right? The proximity is kills me when I think about it, because it's like, how fucking cool would this be to be able to do this shit? Yo, I'm gonna be over here. Come meet me, like in a minute, and jump in the car and actually do it. Not that we can't, but it just takes planning for us to be able to make it work and do that. And now we've been talking about, today is National Road Trip Day, right? It's May 26th is when this is happening. So National Road Trip Day, there is something really fun about thinking about going on a road trip. It's like the road trip, you got the music, you got the snacks, you got the company, you have the freedom to literally do whatever you want, see whatever you want to see. I don't know, road trips are fun if you're with the right people and for the right reason, right? So I'm noticing that my intuition is usually really strong in me, right? It's probably like a guiding voice for me, but lately, because we had a couple of talks about how heavy things seem lately, my intuition is kind of like, it's been quiet. Intuition is always there, right? I'm finding that it's always there. It's really fucking patient though, and it's not going to scream to be heard. It is just there. It will not compete with anything else. It's like just chilling out, waiting for you to actually listen to it. But it's there and it's steady and it's always ready to guide you. But when things get heavy, and if you don't allow yourself to take the time to actually tune in to it, you might not hear it, because it's not gonna scream. It just kind of sits and waits. So it's kind of that, I'm cool, I'm here, I'm waiting, I'm not going to compete with any of this other craziness you have going on right now. So once you're done with that, come visit me and I'll get it straight for you. When I'm not, currently now, I'm having a slight problem tapping into it, which is odd for me. It's usually pretty clear. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just noticing that. It's always there though.
Well, I always notice for myself that I'm not open to listen to myself or anything when I am just running around like a headless chicken, trying to put out fires, doing too much, getting into routines where it's just about, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, running into one thing after the other, like a mad woman. I need quiet moments. I need moments where I can reflect, where I can go on a quiet walk, where I leave all the noise of the world behind. That's when my intuition talks to me.
Yeah. I'm in this exploration phase of wondering, for me anyway, how connected, we have the head, heart, gut thing going on. So just how connected my intuition is to my heart. It feels really connected. Like something doesn't make sense. Fine, it doesn't make sense. I can sometimes just find a way around what doesn't make sense. Rationalization is a great tool. Sometimes comes in when you're trying to make sense of something. It might not always be helpful and positive, but it's useful sometimes. But when something is sitting in my heart in a way that's causing me to have a reaction that feels really, really, really deep, I feel like that is my intuition trying to speak to me through my emotion. My emotions trying to show me something that my intuition is trying to tell me. So I feel like I have to sit with whatever that emotion is to really be able to hear. what I'm being told. I'm noticing that in me, because something could be like, this is fucked up. Okay. It could be fucked up and I can move on. But if it's fucked up and also I'm having lingering sort of like emotional sadness or like anger wrapped around it, then there's something else there for me that I might not be seeing just yet that I have to listen to and explore.
I would say that in the last nearly 2 years, I don't think my intuition has spoken any more or less, but I've been more prepared to hear it. And I do think some of that has come from doing these, because I sometimes get a feeling a conversation might be heading in a certain direction. And I experience that equally in coaching. Because we're spending time with people, we're offering the immediacy and we're attending to what people are saying. This to me is a lot like extra coaching practice, because we're not listening with an agenda. We're not listening to ask a question, or occasionally I might bring us back to a particular topic that we started on if there was more to say. But as with coaching, it's picking up on the vibe of the conversation as much as anything else. And so being prepared to actually hear that, I think, is part and parcel of it. In the same way we've talked about other things that we have to accept and allow, I think there's a certain choice to intuition and hunch as well. I'm probably a little bit more certain of my own beliefs about where this stems from. In the first episode, we were trying to establish, is it in the mind? Does it come from the heart, or is it external? And I do feel like there's almost an antenna. There's something receiving other information if you're prepared to listen to it. If you're prepared to accept that it doesn't need to come through a third party, whether that be a church or a political leader or somebody else. If you're prepared to accept the information that comes to you, whether it be a little voice or a fully formed idea, we know that people like Einstein were absolutely convinced that his ideas came from elsewhere, and then he just had to work out how to prove that the idea was actually something that could work or would work or did work. So acceptance and being willing, I think, are probably two parts that I didn't emphasize as much as I would have liked to in those earlier conversations.
No, this is so like what you just said, because probably when we first talked about it, I don't remember exactly what I said, but probably much of the same. Like intuition has always been like a guiding thing for me. Like it sort of just has always just been. But now, especially exactly now at this time in my life, and something that you just said, my intuition is probably screaming at me right now, right? I just said something like, I can't hear it, but I'm pretty sure I might be just bullshitting myself, and that my intuition is screaming its fucking head off at me about something, but I am not ready to hear it, or I'm not ready to do what I need to do after hearing it. I think that's probably more in line with where I'm at. And that's probably why my emotions are where they are, because I'm totally at odds with my own self, right? Like I'm hearing it and I know it, but I'm not ready to listen to it and do what I have to do, which is really interesting. Going back to what we were talking about suffering a couple episodes ago, that this is where it lands, right? It's like, we could probably know all the things, but what's going on up here is keeping me unable to like really listen and trust my own intuition, right? Because something else is getting in the way of that entirely. starts with the letter F and it ends with the letter R. It's fear of something. Obviously, it's too scary sometimes to really take the step and listen fully to your intuition when it's telling you something that feels like there's no way in hell I can do that.
There's an element of that I was chuckling at as well, which is why do you keep asking like the same thing? You know, people will go, if they're drawn to that sort of thing, they'll go back to a tarot reader or a psychic or whatever, or they'll go to a church and they'll get on their knees and they'll pray and they ask the same stuff and the same stuff. And the answer is, why are you still asking the same question? You know, you got the answer that was appropriate however long ago. It's only you not being satisfied with the answer, not being prepared to do what goes with the answer. I think way back in that first episode, I used the joke about the priest who's on the rooftop of a flood. You know, a little canoe goes by and then a dinghy and a rib and then the helicopter. No, God will save me, God will save me. He eventually dies and he's up there and he says, God, why didn't you? It's like, I sent a canoe, I sent a dinghy. It was just like, you know, take what is offered to you. And maybe some of that fits into those things that bring us joy as well. You know, oh, I'm suffering. Why is everything so difficult and hard for me? Did you wake up and smell the roses this morning? I mean, quite literally at the moment, I go out of my door down towards the lock and the grass is carpeted with bluebells and the intensity of the scent is almost enough to take your breath away. And it's right there. I don't have to pay a damn thing for it. I literally open the door and go, whew. And talk about clear your mind. I mean, it's so intense, it's almost unpleasant. I know people will be thinking, but you just imagine the sheer volume of these things. But it's right there. And what do I have to do for it? Nothing. And I believe intuition is the same thing. It's right there. What do I have to do to obtain it? Nothing. In fact, the less that I do, the more aware of it I may well be, because with all the noise and everything, and maybe that's why we are so surrounded by noise and distraction at the moment, because where would we go if we listened to that intuition? I certainly don't think it would be buying more clothing or other shit we don't need. It would be, whoa, whoa, horsey, back up. You know, we don't need all this stuff. The reason that sustainability and stuff isn't working is because we don't want to make the hard decisions and say, don't need that. Don't need that.
My intuition is...
Your intuition wants you to have a chef. We know
my intuition is telling me, like, to what you just said, like, why do you keep asking the same question? My intuition takes the stance of, I already fucking told you, stop talking to me if you're not going to listen. Stop. Like, I already told you what I had to say. Do whatever you have to do now, but don't keep coming back to me looking for something different. I have already spoken. Now go on your merry way until you're ready to do what I damn told you to do.
There may be a piece of fear in there that keeps us from listening to the intuition. Because that means if you're comfortable right now, you may not be comfortable if you listen to the intuition. But in the discomfort, there's growth. And you'll always come back around to comfort again. And is the comfort really worth it? Is the question. Because the growth, I think, would outweigh the comfort if we can get past the fear and dial into the intuition and the guidance that we have within us. All right? There's just other things are just dialed up that much more, so we don't listen to our intuition.
I think you're onto something there, and the other part of it is intuition. Sometimes, like a strict parent will give you the answer you need and not the answer that you want. So yes, there'll be potentially discomfort and hardship, but like you said, the growth comes in the kind of stress tolerance area. Erica's intuition is probably telling her something she needs to hear and not something that she wants to hear. And I've certainly experienced that. When I go round and round a subject in my mind, it's always because I don't like the answer I've given myself. The answer probably came from my heart or my gut and said, do you know what? This isn't going to be what you want it to be, or this isn't going to be what you need it to be. And it's the and so, and Gabby does that. Yes. And, the thing with the stand up and the public speaking. If you ask your intuition, yes, and you'll probably get more information. It's like, okay, that's going to be uncomfortable. Yeah. And then what? And then what? And then what? Because it's peeling the things away, until you end up with, the ultimate factor, which is, I'm either going to do this and there will be difficulty and, trials and tribulations, and I'll look back and say, I achieved this thing. Or what also happens frequently is you don't listen to your intuition and you then get the shit kicked out of you for 6 months or a year or however long, and you end up in the position you would have been had you trusted your intuition and you'd chosen what you were prepared to endure rather than what you were made to endure.
I literally am having a conversation with my intuition right now. And our conversations usually sound more like negotiation talks, where I'm like, okay, so let's say that I do listen to you, right? Say that I am willing to listen to you. And all it says, right? And I'm looking to and what happens after, right? Let's say I do listen to you. Then what? And my intuition, the answer is always, I don't know, you'll figure it out. And that is dude, I don't like that answer because it's it feels really scary. It does feel scary. It's like there's no certainty in that. There's no clarity in that. There's just got to be a level of knowing, which is what we talked about in that first episode, right? That inner knowing of, yeah, I guess I will figure it out. But what does that actually mean? So there is no clear-cut path, right?
But the inner knowing also comes from having a dialogue with almost 3 parts of us, the head, the heart, and the gut, talking about that. Because, Alec, as you said, in improv, we keep a scene going by saying yes and to the other actors. But that's what we don't do when we have our inner dialogue, right? Our intuition could say something, and instead of saying yes and look into it, our brain boss goes, no, but. And we get literally, like an improv scene, we get literally stuck. Because if you say no, but, that's the end of the intuition talking. Goes like, okay then, So, we don't listen to it again until the no but didn't really work. And we go like, oh, this is not working. Then we may start. Then the heart comes. This is not working. This is not right here. Hello. And then we might just start listening to the gut again.
That's crazy. That's the limitation.
Yeah.
The no but. It's putting the block in and it's stopping the intuition. Right?
Yeah.
And when Alex was talking earlier about not listening to the intuition and then something happens, the intuition is trying to guide you in a way, I feel, right? That it's looking to guide me in a way of best moving forward. And listening to it, it's going to guide me the best way to succeeding in XYZ, whatever it may be, right? And without listening to it, I can travel down a path and go my own way. There's free will, right? But you may meet obstacles, and that might bring in some of the suffering. I might bring in certain blocks to block myself from going in the direction of what I've gotten fed from my intuition out of fear and all the other stuff like I was saying before. So it's wild. It's like the inner navigation system. Like, where did navigation system come from? Well, we have an inner navigation way back when, right? That kind of guided us into what to do and how to go about things. Didn't mean it was going to be easy. Didn't mean everybody should go on that journey. But the ones that didn't want to go on a journey went on a journey. If they didn't make it, maybe they weren't meant to be on that journey, and they were doing it because they weren't listening to their intuition. Right? So there's something about this inner guidance that I feel that it's for our best path. Right? That's the way I feel my intuition is really for. It's my best path. And I'll experiment and I'll do things and I'll, take on different jobs, and give things a shot, because you don't know, and it opens up different parts of me that I connect to, right? And then I learn different things about myself, and then I can always go back to doing whatever was in the past. But it's about not limiting the ability to shift and grow and allow yourself to be guided by the people that you meet in making that one decision, right? The people that come in front of you, you never know who you inspire to do something, right? Because you were there, you took that drive. What if you were meant to inspire the one person to go do XYZ, and they come back later and you get to see them again? You never know where life can take you, because it is the journey, right? So that's what's great about it. We get to choose where we go, how we walk that path. I'd much rather walk with my intuition alongside me than pushing them to the back. Right.
I wonder if that decision that would come from your intuition would change the sort of path that people take. So we've spoken a lot recently about productivity and having to meet criteria by the end of the day and all of those things that go with it, goal setting and that kind of malarkey. And I'm not sure which is cause and effect. Do we block out intuition because we're following that? Or if we listened to our intuition, would we be less bothered about those sorts of things like productivity and outcomes? I feel like the old human being, if we spent more time being, we would probably be more satisfied. So it brings us back to that question of, are we pushed into doing a lot of things so we have less independent thought, we're less creative, we're less our own individuals? Don't know. Closing thought.
Well, just on that, I think it's easier to lean on something else or another system than doing our own stuff and be creative, because all the responsibility is on us. If it doesn't work, it's on us. We can't blame anyone else. So to be that person who does it on their own is much harder than leaning on someone else or something else. And it's not sometimes just limiting beliefs, at least for me. I think I'm pretty cool with them. I think I can actually overcome them much easier these days than false hope. Hoping for something. Oh no, I know my intuition is just telling me to change direction here, but if I keep another 3 months, maybe it's working then. Maybe it's working then. Maybe it's working then. So I think for me at the moment, I'm less inclined to listen to my intuition because of false hope rather than limiting beliefs. We have put so much work into it already. So just let's go another 3 months. Let's go another 3 months. I think that's the case for me at the moment.
For me, sorry, go ahead, Brett.
No,
Like,
I was just going to say it's short and sweet. That's what makes us the individuals. Is that for me, it could be limiting beliefs. For you, everybody's something different. But knowing yourself, that's the guidance. That's the map. Go ahead, Eric.
No, fear is the leading reason why I wouldn't listen to my intuition. It is nothing short of fear, and which is directly tied in a straight line to my value of survival and security. And my survival instinct feels a lot stronger than anything else when I think about it. Yeah, it's definitely that. And something Gabby said earlier, and my last thought on this for now is in the no but, right, where you get stuck and you fail to listen to the intuition, or it can't speak, it's too loud for it to get through. For me, in that no but is where any suffering takes place. Going back to a couple episodes ago, that and only that is what causes the suffering. It's any reason my brain can find to dispute my intuition. No, but I can't. No, but it's too scary. That's the suffering right there in those two words. No, but.
It's funny. Gabby's comment obviously set us off because it's the hope part that has sat with me from her comment. And I think this is a quote from a John Cleese character. Don't ask me what movie or TV show it was in, but he said, "It's not the despair. I can take the despair. It's hope that I can't stand." And yeah, hope in the absence of completion of that thing is almost unbearable to me. I feel like it's, and maybe that's why I wouldn't always trust my intuition. If it's your heart talking to you or your gut, my gut feeling is this might happen, this could happen, and then I'm like hopeful, and that I can't live with. Last thing out of Pandora's box apparently was hope.
Well, it sucks because when you lose hope, that's where the disappointment is, and disappointment is, like, for me, quite possibly one of the hardest emotions to navigate around. The feeling of disappointment is so painful for me, in wherever it comes from, right? Like, however I get it, it hurts. So for me, that's the complete opposite of when you have hope and then it's false hope. I'm left feeling disappointed. And now what do I do with that? Now what? Right?
For me, the disappointment is the freer. Because I'm actually with Alec, if you have hope and you just live off hope, the disappointment is the truth seeker. Face it. Here is the truth. Just look at it.
I don't have to like it though. God damn it. This is the whole thing. Like, this sucks. I'm facing it and this fucking sucks. But, oh man, that is like, holy shit. The pain of it all.
And somehow we came right back to suffering and how we're going to deal with it. Yeah, rewind, folks. Listen to episode 98 again.
Well, this is how you're going to deal with it. You're going to talk to a bunch of people who you love and value and trust and try to figure it out and come to the understanding that it's the plight of the human condition. And we might not have the answers to it. It's just something that we have to experience. We experience it as part of being human. It's part of the human condition. You can't get around it. You just can't.
We might not have the answer for somebody else, but we have the answer for ourselves. And it's the exploration with others that'll bring us closer to ourselves. Because the answers that we don't have lie in other people and their experiences. And it's sharing and communicating with one another that help guide us through that journey. Right? So what I might not be able to connect to, I might have a conversation here, and one of you guys will say something that'll stimulate my mind in a way where it's like, oh, there it is. But what if I added that to that? Huh? Right? So there's that connecting with people to help support us. There's a part of that for people that are supposed to come through your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Right? And it's whether I'm helping you or you're helping me, or we're helping each other. Right? And growing. And you don't know how long that's for. Like, there's friends that I don't see for years. And when we come back together, it's like we never missed a beat. Right? So there's that whole piece in there. So,
Brett, you could have just made me cry then. I've heard you say about reason, season, and lifetime before, and I've even quoted you. I'm sure other people have said that. But I was still thinking about the hope part when you said it. And the link that my mind made was, what happens if your hope is that it's for a lifetime, but it's actually only a reason or a season? And the two kind of conflated to actually almost bring me to tears. So thanks for that, mate.
You're a good friend. That's what good friends do. They bring you to tears.
This is why I've spent 100 weekends with you. Right. Anybody got anything they want to say before we wrap this one?
Episode 100 coming to you live on 101 because it's the first one of beginning next 100.
Yes. New century. Hopefully this one will go out live. Right. All right. See you all in a bit, folks.